Hi, I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation and welcome to the Hive. In this video, we're going to be taking a look at my new Nanoleaf shapes panels. We'll do the usual unboxing, quality checks, native setup, and lastly, Home Assistant setup and exploration. But there's also something extra special about these panels that I'm going to take a look at as well. So while I roll the intro, take a moment to subscribe and be sure to hit the bell icon so you get notified when I release new videos each week. And let's get started. So I have been seeing the Nanoleaf shapes in the smart home section at Bunnings on their demo table quite a bit. And I always thought they looked really cool and I've been wanting to get my hands on some ever since I first saw them. But they're not exactly cheap. Now I picked up this Hexagon starter kit from PTC for $278. Now the regular price is $349.99. I will be including an affiliate link in the video description down below if you want to pick up some of the Nanoleaf products for yourself. And whenever I include an affiliate link, it doesn't cost you any extra, but I get a couple of dollars for the referral, which helps me to keep making this content. Now, the PTC shop also has a 5-panel starter kit and a 15-panel hexagon starter kit as well. And they also have the line starter kit and the triangle starter kit. So if you want to pick up some Nanoleaf panels or lines, please use my affiliate link down below. Now, as we always do before we get these out of the box, we're going to take a bit of a look around the box to see what we can find. So there's a nice picture of the panels on the front. One thing that I'm not super keen on is that they're rounded off in the corners where the light is, and you can kind of see that they're not sharp and butted up right into the corner, but I can live with that. We've got that it is a hexagon starter kit. We've got 9 light panels and this Connect Plus logo here, as far as I can tell, what that means is that we can use these hexagons with triangles as well. So take a look at the if I take a look at the Nanoleaf website. So here on the Nanoleaf website, you can actually see some examples of that, where you've got some large triangles, some mini triangles, and there's some hexagons, and they're all mixed into one arrangement there. And so that's what the Connect Plus on the box actually means. And right on the front, we've also got works with Apple HomeKit right out of the box, which is great. On the back of the box, we can see we've got some serving suggestions here, and the serving suggestions also show you a count of the number of panels that you would need to achieve that. We would need to buy some expansion packs to get this one, which takes 21, and the same with that one there. And here's the explanation of the Connect Plus. So we can combine shapes, a re-engineered modular lighting experience designed with Connect Plus to work with future shapes. So they might even be releasing new shapes in the future that will also connect to these. So on our features list on the back of the box, we've got that they can be ambient or functional, and they're able to output more than 16 million colors, and they've got a 1200K to 6500K white color temperature and brightness control. There's touch control and touch experiences, so you can set the panels to react to touch, and we'll take a look at some of those functions a bit later. There's a music visualizer to make the lights dance to music. Layout detect. Now this is really cool. The app can detect the layout of the panels automatically and they'll reflect inside the app. And we'll look at the app a little later as well. And it's simple setup using mounting tape, so just double-sided tape. And lastly, on this side, we see that it works with HomeKit, it works with Google, it works with Amazon, IFT, and also Samsung SmartThings. Now, something else that is not mentioned on the box is that the controller that is included inside the box can operate as a thread border router. So when we talk more about thread accessories in a future video, we're not going to need a new router to connect those thread accessories to our network. The HomePod Mini behind me also acts as a thread border router, but as I say, more thread in another video. So let's get these out of the box and take a look at what we've got. So I'm just going to cut this plastic dot here, and there's another one on the bottom here. And we'll put the knife away without cutting ourselves, and we should be able to lift this off. And we can just then open the box up like so. And I'll grab the other camera. Okay, so inside the box we've got a little brochure with, again, some serving suggestions. So here's something for a 7-panel design, a 9-panel design, and a 12-panel design. And we've also got our iOS and Android pairing codes there. So I'll put that aside, I'll need that later. We've got a little Hexagons Smarter Kit Quick Start Guide there. And then we have our first panel, and it says apply pressure to the center and hold for 30 seconds using circular motion. So each of these panels, these are actually a lot bigger than I initially thought they were going to be. And if we look at the back, this is our mounting system here, and we can actually peel that off, and this is where we would put our sticky. I'll be using some command strips a bit later on to stick these to the wall, but you can also, it looks like you can also screw these to the wall if you wanted to as well. But the great thing with this mounting system is you can put the panel on and you can still spin the panel around to orient it properly, and again we'll demonstrate that later. And you see each of these connectors here to connect to the next panel in the array. So we should have 9 of those. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and 9. Okay, and we've got a little bit of, what have we got in there? Okay, so inside that little envelope is our sticky things to stick them onto the wall, and there's a sticker and another little sticky thing there as well inside. Turns out there's actually 10 of those mounting strips. Okay, so I'll put that little envelope aside. We've got our power adapter here, and if I pull that out, it looks like it's a universal power adapter. So somewhere in here, there it is our attachment to hook this on for the Australian plug, and that just slides on like that. So it is a properly international plug setup, which is great. So on the side of the plug we can see some stats here. We've got a model number. This is a 42 volt 1 amp, so 42 watt power supply. So interesting that it's 42 volts. We'll take a look at how much it draws when we plug it in, and it is a constant voltage output. There's all the compliance stuff on there. We've got all of our connectors, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, and then 9. We've got 10 connectors, so that's good, because we will need 10 to connect them all together. And lastly, I think this is the last thing in here, we have our controller. So yeah, we'll need that 10th controller, that 10th connector to connect to the controller. So on the controller we've got our power, we've got minus and plus. I'm not sure you can see that on the camera there. And then we've got a weird symbol there. I'm not sure what that means. We'll take a look in the manual to figure that out. And we've also got a music function there to presumably turn on the music reactivity. So according to the manual, we've got light panels, mounting plates, mounting tape, power supply, controller and linkers. So that should be everything that we need. And there's some important installation tips in there. So one other thing that I will mention here is if we look at the power adapter, the end of the power adapter, that is another linker connector on there. So presumably what we do, rather than the power adapter going into the controller like most other kinds of LED strips or lighting, we would put the power adapter into one of the light panels, and the controller can be anywhere on the string as well, and then it doesn't matter, the whole system should be powered regardless of where that goes into the string and where the controller is. I'm going to put the power into one of these panels, and I'll put the controller into one of the panels, and then I'll plug in power and we will see what we get. So just really basic, I've got power in here and I've got one of the linkers there. So I'm going to plug in the power adapter now and see what happens, and we might even set up the app while we're at it. Okay, so I've just plugged it into power. I've taken the box away. It's showing up green and purple, and we've got this kind of chasing on above the buttons here. If I tap the buttons, different things happen. I'm going to set the app up now. Okay, so I'm going to open up my smart home group here on my phone and open up the Nanoleaf app. I don't yet have a Nanoleaf account, so I'm going to create one, and we'll put in my details. Okay, so it's asking me if we want to also create an account for the Nanoleaf shop. Yeah, why not? We will sign up for that as well. Okay, we have set up the account. I'm going to save the password, and we can sync our Nanoleaf cloud account with HomeKit. That will automatically update homes, rooms, accessories and group scenes. And I'm going to enable sync. It's trying to restore from Nanoleaf cloud. I don't have anything in Nanoleaf cloud because this is a brand new setup. So we've got the Hive, which is our primary home. We will go next. So it's found my HomeKit setup, and we can now add a device. So if we had lines or elements or shapes or canvas or light panels, what we're looking for is shapes. So I'm going to tap pair, and it's going to ask to use Bluetooth. So I'm going to tap OK. And now it's showing me the screen to pair a device. So we have the add to home light. So I've just tapped using the NFC on there. So if we hit add to home, okay, so now it's asking us where the light is. I'm going to put this in the spare room. I'll tap continue. Actually, I might change that to Hexagons, done, and continue. I'll add it to when last person leaves, turn off. We'll tap continue, and it's added it to the Hive. So we can tap done. So that's now added to my Apple HomeKit. Now it says to match the orientation. We can rotate the layout in the screen below to match the installation in real life. Might just rotate that like so, and then that's how we will install it on the wall a bit later on. So I'll touch done now, and that's going to allow for proper scene detection and touch and swipe gestures. So it says device sync, enabling device sync for Hexagons will back up all device data to the cloud. So we have the one Hexagon, they are at 60%. It's currently using a Cocoa Beach scene, and I can turn the brightness all the way up or all the way down. We can change to different color themes. So we've got beat drop, hip hop. Okay, it looks like it's on sound sensitivity at the moment, so I'll turn that off. There we go. Nope, still sound sensitive. Okay, so I think we're on a cycle now, a color cycle. So, we can now change to, let's go back to that prism color. And okay, so it turns out that this prism is actually a sound sensitive color. So that makes sense. We've got this reading light, so that's kind of cool. And there's a bunch of others in here. So we've got a warm white, etc. So we can play with all of that later. I want to just go to basic, and I'm going to grab the color picker here, and let's go got our RGB. So it's kind of blowing out on the camera. I might, there we go. I can see that on my face now. So you can kind of see how that is affecting the light on my face. Like very, very orange in that 1200 range. And if we go back to the RGB. All right, so that is a very quick look at the app. So the app is pretty cool. I think I need to spend a bit more time figuring out how to use it. And the light that comes out of here is really good. I'm sorry that it didn't seem to come up particularly well on camera. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pause the camera. I'm going to head into the spare room and we're going to start getting some of these panels onto the wall, and then we will set them up so that we can take a look. So we'll be right back and we will get these onto the wall. Okay, so I'm just going to be using some command strips on the mounting plates that are on the back of each of the hexagons, and I'll be mounting one of these onto the wall and then mounting that first control hexagon, and I'll plug that in, and I'll also record the screen on my iPhone to see those update live. So I'll just get this first one started. And the reason I'm using these is because they'll be easy to take off the wall if I want to move the hexagons later on. Okay, so let's start with this one. I want to put it around about here. There's a power point down in this corner. So I'm going to put the mounting plate back on the back of the panel. And I'll peel off the sticky on the command strip and put that right about there and hold it up against the wall for 30 seconds. And so you see now that the mounting plate is on the wall, we can still rotate the hexagon to get the right orientation. And I'm going to grab my spirit level here and just try and get the right orientation. I'm going to plug this in. So that's going to start lighting up, and I'm going to record the screen on my phone, and hopefully we should be able to see the orientation and everything update on screen as we add more panels. So I need to pull this panel off the wall to then add a connector into there. Then we'll push this panel back on the wall and get it level again. And so you can see that that is now added the second panel. You can see on the iPhone recording as well that we can see that there as well. And so each of the panels is looking really good, and if I touch on it, you can see it actually reacts to my touch. It just kind of goes a little bit pale, so that's really cool. And I can set it to a music mode where it's kind of reacting to, so it reacts to sound, and it's almost as if this first one in the channel is the master, and that seems to have the microphone on it, and it acts like a very interesting VU meter almost. And we can change the color to anything we want. Those are all looking a little bit white on camera. I will turn my aperture up a bit more. So through the yellows and the reds, purples, blues, and into the greens. So again, the white color, we've got the 6500K and up to the 1200K, which is very, very orange indeed. And there's also a numerical choice for the white balance, so we can go from 1200K all the way up to 6500K, which is really cool. And if I go to scene and go paint scene, we'll just choose Northern Lights. So then we get this screen and I can choose blue, and I want to make this one blue and this one blue, and then I can go, I want green there, and I want red. Now for whatever reason it isn't recognizing this last panel, so I'm going to reseat it. I'm going to pop it off and make sure it is plugged in. So it does take a couple of moments after you plug a new panel in for everything to figure out where it is. So if I go to scene and paint scene again, and then we'll go to Northern Lights, again, I want red here, and I want orange here and here, and I want blue here and here, and I want green here, and it goes here. And so then we now have this ability to create this scene however we want it, and I can grab black and I can turn that one off. I can go white and make that one white if I wanted to. I'm going to discard that scene. I want to go back to the basic, and I'm just going to turn everything red. So let's try this jungle effect. And so what we get there is it's a moving effect with these kind of green colors, which is really nice. That Northern Lights color was pretty cool. So we've got a nice kind of rainbow effect, and it's fading through. We've got a warm white, which is just kind of an actual functional light. Again, there's a reading light, which is a functional light. Pop rocks, and this is music sensitive, so it should, if I am quiet, it doesn't do anything, but as I talk, it reacts to sound. So that's really cool. I'm going to put this back to Lightscape so that it is on a standard scene. So I'll go to this sliders in the top right corner and we'll see what's on. So this appears to be where we get some different functions. So we've got touch control, which we've turned on. There's some touch gestures, so things like swipe up, down, left and right. So if I go to swipe up, we can change power, brightness, next color scene, next rhythm scene, next random scene, previous color scene or previous rhythm scene. I'm going to grab a next random scene. I'm going to tap on touch actions, and we're going to tap a panel to configure HomeKit scenes. So I can choose a panel, turn on HomeKit, and then one tap, and we can use the panel to trigger a scene in HomeKit. So the good night scene, for example. So this also acts as a button as well as a control for the panels, which is really awesome. And you can see that that swipe up works across. I think we need to swipe across multiple panels for the swipe up to work. And the touch actions, we've got single tap, double tap, or long press there as well. There's system control for auto brightness, so it'll auto adjust to increase brightness in well-lit environments and decrease brightness in dim environments. So that's really cool. It will reduce the brightness based on the ambient light in the room. Scene transitions, it's a black pulse to indicate a transition between scenes. That's cool. We can calibrate the color if we want, back up and restore, and we can identify different lights as well. And we've got the palette list. So here in the palette list, we've got different color palettes. There's white palettes as well. We can add new color palettes. We can create a palette from our color picker wheel here as well. And that will then use that for different scenes. So now that we've got that test color palette, we can click on that and we can now choose different functions. So we can have motion, we can do a burst motion, we can do a fade motion, a flow motion, highlight motion. So that's just kind of highlighting individual panels. There's a random motion, so that's kind of cool, where it's got different colors on almost every panel, but they cycle through. And then there's this wheel motion, and there's more motions as well. You can download extra functions from the Nanoleaf site. I'm going to grab this memory function, and this should actually be able to create for us a game. So using the touch functions. So we've got that. So I'm going to choose that memory function, so which is an interactive. So across the top we had color, rhythm, and interactive. So I'm going to choose memory, and we'll save that and go memory test, and we'll go done. So now we have memory test. So we've got white, and I'm going to tap yellow, and I think what we need to do is match panels. So that's a green, and that's a blue. Awesome. So that is a lot of fun. That would be a lot of fun for kids, I think, playing the match game. We'll just set this onto a northern sky color palette that's going to cycle through, and we're going to set up the Nanoleaf in Home Assistant. All right, so we've got everything set up in the app. I'm going to grab my Home Assistant app here. So we're on our demo instance, and I'm going to just hit the configuration page and go to integrations, and it should have discovered, so there we go, it has discovered Nanoleaf Shapes 3D75. I'm going to tap configure. It's going to say press and hold the power button on the Nanoleaf for 5 seconds until the button starts flashing, and then click the submit button within 30 seconds. So I'm going to go and do that. I'm going to press and hold the power button. Okay, so that's now cycling the LEDs on the control panel. I'm going to hit submit, and it's got them there. I'm going to select the spare room, and we're going to hit finish. The shapes there, I'm going to click rename and call that Hexagons, and we'll click on one device here and we can see Shapes 3D75. I'm going to change that also to Hexagons and update that, and this won't change anything. We're just going to update it. Because we haven't changed anything, we haven't created automations, anything like that in Home Assistant, it shouldn't matter. So now that we have everything in Home Assistant, we can turn them off and we can turn them back on. And if I click on item here, and we'll click on the controls. So now that we've got the controls up, we can grab the brightness slider and turn it all the way down, turn it to 50%, or turn it all the way back up. And we've got colors and we've got temperature. So if I just grab blue, we get blue, red, we get red, and green, we get green, and we can go to the white color as well, which we can go to the temperature panel and we can drag that to the warm white, which is more of an orange than a white, or we can go back to the really, really cool white. And when we did that, we noticed that the effect turned off. So we can go back to the effects here, and we can choose hot sauce, for example, and hot sauce appears to be a sound reactive scene, and we can click the drop down and we'll go back to we'll go to morning sky. That looks really nice. So that was super easy to get set up in Home Assistant, which is awesome. I'm really happy with how easy that was to get set up in Home Assistant. So let's head back out to the dining room, and we will look at one more feature, and then we will sum up. Okay, so before we summarize, I want to talk about one other feature, and that is Nanoleaf Desktop. Nanoleaf Desktop is an app that you can download from the Nanoleaf website, and it lets you both customize and control your lighting. It's a native app for both Windows and Mac OS. Okay, so I'm going to open up the Nanoleaf Desktop app, and you can see right on the front we've got rooms and getting started. If you've already got your devices paired on the Nanoleaf mobile app, we just need to sign in to the Nanoleaf cloud account to sync the devices, and we can do things like device sync. There's Razer Chroma RGB sync functionality, so we can sync the Nanoleaf panels to our Razer Chroma accessories if we're a gamer. It might be nice to maybe mount some of these panels, say behind your monitor, and then have all of your Razer Chroma gear synced up to those LED panels, and that would look really cool. I'm going to sign into Nanoleaf Cloud, and it's signed in, so it's getting details. So we scroll through, and in the spare room we've got hexagons, but now that we see that there, if we go back to our dashboard, we can see the hexagons, and we can click on them, and we see it's got northern lights, and it should be showing that they're on, because they are on. Let me double check that they're on. Yes, they're definitely on. Now the app itself is kind of struggling a little bit to see all of the details, so I'm not sure what that's about. It may not necessarily be that great on Mac OS, but what I'm really interested in is this entertainment button here. So what we can do is mirror the display onto Nanoleaf devices. So what I need to do for this on Mac OS at the very least is I need to enable screen mirroring here, and I then need to go to my system preferences, and I'm then going to need to go into security and privacy. Down the left hand side, so on this privacy pane here down the left hand side, I need to find screen recording, and inside here we're going to need to tick the Nanoleaf Desktop. Now this is currently grayed out because we need to click the lock for changes. I'm going to use my fingerprint to unlock that, and we can check that box, and we can quit and reopen Nanoleaf Desktop. I can then go to the entertainment tab, and we can go device selection, hexagons, tick that box, save devices, and screen mirror, we'll just go center, we'll enable screen mirroring. So it's not working the way I would expect it to, but what you can do is there's this 4D mode, which is a hyper-realistic screen sync that takes your viewing experience beyond the screen and into the next dimension. Best for high impact actions. So we could use that 4D function as a gamer, having again those panels behind the display of our computer, and we could potentially then have much more immersive. Similar to what we did with Hyperion in a previous episode, where we had the LEDs on the screen react to what was on screen, you could do the same thing here. There's a soft highlight effect that pulls multiple shades. There's a flow effect that picks the dominant color from the screen and flows all lights at once between those colors for a smooth transition. It's tranquility to paint the dominant color from the screen and gradually dissolve between colors one light at a time. And the 4D, which is going to be for high impact action. I might have to test this out on the PC, and I might test it out with some games. For me, where the lights are, I don't necessarily need this function, but it's nice to know that they are thinking about this stuff, which is really cool. There's also the Discover tab in the app here, so we can download different things here. So there's things like a bedtime scene that we can download. There's a vibrant sunrise that we can download, and we can choose which panels we want to download that to. So there's a touch, reacts to touch on the canvas, and so we can download that and add that there if we wanted to. And there's tons and tons and tons of scenes available, and it looks like we can share these scenes on the community. So there are tons of new scenes that we can download here. And then there's motions that you can grab as well. There's lightning, whack-a-mole, there's Simon Says, So as you can see, tons of scenes and motions that we can discover. And if we actually already know, we can search the name. And so then the last thing to really look at in here is schedules. So we can let devices wake you up with a calm sunrise or set a scene. So if we create a schedule here, say we wanted to set this for 5:55 p.m, which is in about 20 seconds, and we wanted to repeat it on Saturday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday on hexagons, and we'll go next. And what we want to do is turn them off, and we want to set our brightness ramp to say 5 minutes and 30 seconds. So 5 minutes and 30 seconds, and it's going to slowly turn off. So if I save that at 5:55 p.m. every day, it's going to ramp down. We've obviously missed that because it's just gone past 5:55, but I can set that to 5:56, and if we save that again, so now at 5:56, that should ramp off those hexagons in the other room. So that is the Nanoleaf Desktop app. So these Nanoleaf Hexagon panels are pretty great, and I'm absolutely stoked with them. I'm still trying to decide exactly where they're going to live permanently and whether or not I'm going to get more of them or whether I'm going to get maybe some triangles to add. They look really good. They're super bright. Because they don't take up a lot of space, they might be good in an apartment or a smaller home to replace functional lighting like lamps. Another use case that you might want to consider for something like this is maybe they could go in a kid's room. As you can see, we can have interactive games and they would be good as maybe a night light for younger kids or as a really cool kind of feature wall. Because you've got the schedule there and you can ramp the brightness down slowly, it would also make a really nice kind of sunset sleep effect, so to help get your kids to sleep. Or if you wanted to put it in your own bedroom, they would also add a really nice ambience to the room. So let's quickly run through some pros and cons though. For the pros, they're pretty flexible for setting up feature lighting and functional lighting as well, and they were super easy to install on the wall. Personally, I love that straight out of the box they work with HomeKit, and the fact that the app integrates with HomeKit straight away, like we don't have to worry about setting it up in HomeKit separately. It's just there in HomeKit. That's fantastic to me. The Home Assistant integration was super easy to set up as well. The ability to mix and match the hexagons, triangles, and mini triangles also means that you can get really quite creative with how you set these panels up. The sound active or music visualizer was pretty cool, and the touch functions were a lot of fun as well. That memory game that we played was surprisingly fun, and I think that would be great for kids. The software that auto detects the layout is really cool, and I'm super surprised with how well that works. And if, like me, you have the app open as you put the panels on the wall, it actually really helps you with diagnosing panels that are maybe not connected properly. Now, I have two main gripes with these panels to go into the cons column. The first is the price. At an RRP of $349 for this starter kit, even the $278 that I got the kit for, they're not exactly cheap. That being said, you do get what you pay for. They are a premium product, and it seems like a lot of the price, other than the fact that the build quality is fantastic and the color reproduction is really great, the white LEDs are really bright, the hardware quality is fantastic, but the software as well is part of the reason these are so expensive. And I've seen this with other smart gadget manufacturers as well, where the price goes up based on the software features and not necessarily the hardware. I still think that the pricing here is going to scare some people away though, and that really is a shame because I honestly love these panels. The second gripe that I have is that the light doesn't get into the corners fully, and I mentioned that before. The corners of the hexagons are slightly rounded off, and it's not a big deal and might be more of a manufacturing limitation than an actual choice that had to be made. But I would have liked to have seen sharp corners on there. What do you think? Let me know in the comments down below. That is all the time we have for this video, and I do hope that it helped you out in your home automation journey. Please be sure to comment down below with home automation ideas that you'd like to see covered in future videos. Don't forget to follow HiveMind Automation on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Those links are in the video description below. If you like this video, hit the thumbs up button down below to give it a like, and if you're not already subscribed, now is the time to change that. While you're at it, if you hit the bell icon, you'll also get notified when I release new videos each week. I've recently partnered with NordVPN, and there's an affiliate link for NordVPN in the video description. I chose to partner with NordVPN because they have the best infrastructure of any of the VPN providers I've looked at. They have a strict no logs policy, and they have servers all over the planet. They also have apps for just about every platform around for both mobile and desktop computers. So no matter what platform you're using, you can protect your information while you browse the web. So get a VPN today and use my link below to sign up for NordVPN. Lastly, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to help to support the channel but you're not after a VPN, I've put a buy me a coffee link in the video description down below. Contributions that you make through the buy me a coffee link are put towards making more and better content for you to enjoy. I want to thank you so much for watching. I'm Stu from HiveMind Automation, and I'm looking forward to seeing you next time. Bye for now.